Welcome back to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C. And today, this whole week, I am pumped for Super Tuesday and all the politics right now is fascinating to me. Whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, the next few months, or 8-9 months, whatever, until the election in November is going to be fascinating. But now with the Democratic nomination up for grabs, this is just the ideologies is just so it fascinates me 100%. So I'm pumped because this week, is Super Tuesday week, and so theoretically, the Democratic nominee could be wrapped up this week. And this is just going to be kind of an intro video. Obviously, as always I say, you already know what I'm going to talk about because it has a title. But this is a preview, a 2020 preview, Bernie versus Trump. It should have been the 2016 election, but right now, Bernie is leading all the delegates. And then Super Tuesday is coming around. South Carolina this weekend. When this airs, it'll have already come out. So who knows? I don't know. But then I'm going to address it. So this video is going to come out on Monday. And then Tuesday, Super Tuesday is going to happen. And then Wednesday, I'm going to have another video that's in line with the national debt and all that stuff. It's actually, give you a sneak peek, that one's actually going to be the top 15 corporations with the most cash stashed overseas. Just to kind of talk about some of those other things that bring, that are tied up into our national debt and government spending and all that. So anyway, whether you care or not, that's coming Wednesday. And the reason why I'm doing that, one is I want to stay on the national debt and keep going through that with income tax rates and all that jazz. I know it bores most of you, but I just want to put it out there for the people that do care. And who knows, maybe in 5 years, people will be like, oh, that's cool, you put that video out. But in the meantime, I'm not sure that Super Tuesday election results are going to be available early enough that I can do my work, my study, write everything down, shoot a video, save it, upload it to YouTube, and have it air or whatever, drop by 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. I don't think that's possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this other video on Wednesday, and then that gives me a couple of days for Super Tuesday election results to come through on Wednesday and Thursday, and then I'll try to shoot the video Thursday and then upload it, have it drop Friday for the political stuff, which will be kind of the results of Super Tuesday, and maybe this either is going to back up what I'm going to say today or some of the stuff that I'll say today, and that we actually will have a Bernie Trump 2020, or who knows, maybe somebody will come out. There'll be something that happens in the next week that'll totally change everything and the front runner and yada yada yada. So, without further ado, what it would look like a 2020 preview, Bernie versus Trump. So, to start off, what I think's fascinating. I use fascinating too much with our politics at this point, because to me it is just, I'm gonna have to go to the thesaurus and look up synonyms for fascinating. But you've got this whole group of people that huge Obama people, and then there was this group of people that really didn't like Obama, and there was, it was almost like, I'll say this for me, right? The way people fawn over Obama makes me dislike him more than I'm sure I would if I just met him and talked to him. Like, the people fawn over him to the point that If you've fallen over Obama, I feel like you don't have an IQ. Like there's something wrong with you that you put someone that high on a pedestal. And then those same people that do that to Obama turn around and say, oh, we can't stand the Republicans who put Trump on a pedestal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's the same thing. And I get it. Like, I don't put Trump on a pedestal. I think he's better than Hillary Clinton, but I don't think he was the best option. I don't think the best option was available to us to vote on. So anybody that says, oh, you're with Trump and then you just put him on a pedestal, that's not at all. It's not what's happening here. What I do love is all the people that were Obama homers for 8 years and were bashing the conservative people. And what I think is funny too is Trump's not conservative. Like, he's never been a true hardcore right-wing guy. And so yeah, I think it's actually funny that there's so many people on the right are like so pro Trump, because he's not really, he's just sort of playing the game, getting everybody riled up. But the people that were so hyped for Obama and were hating on, you know, the Republicans or the conservatives or what have you, and, you know, now they've turned around and now they're just so ill and mad and you hate America if you voted for Trump or if you like Trump and all this just crazy nonsense. And they don't know that they're just crazy, nonsensical people. And so what's fascinating is you move from Obama to Bernie. So you've got these Trump haters, right? Just people that hate Trump. And now their option is socialism. And it's like, do you really hate Donald Trump that much that you will vote America to go socialist? Like if you didn't like Obama, you weren't saying, I'm going to take, instead of voting for Obama, I'm going to take this country and vote for whatever, the most racist thing you can think of. And that's not, now people on the far left will say that's what conservatives are doing, but that's just media. That's just BS. And there's no, like, whatever. That's just such a small, like, peripheral percentage of conservative Americans that it's just ridiculous that keeps being thrown in our face, the race card and stuff. But it's like, you didn't go, oh, well, I'm not voting for Obama. I'm going to vote for, like, you know, this, you know, reenact slavery and stuff like that. That wasn't, there was no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not a rebound, but just no, you know, I don't even know. Like, I'm speechless because all these things that I hear are just so silly about the conservative side of America. And so if you were against Obama, you weren't just like, I'm pulling America back to 1812 or something. But if you're so against Trump, which all of these Democratic nominees are, and there's no like, hey, we think here's some good plans. It's like, we have to get Trump out because he's a, you know, whatever, neo-Nazi and all this stuff. And you're going, no, he's not. Like, he's not any of this stuff. Like, have you seen his toupee or his fake hair or whatever? Like, he's not a skinhead. Like, he's not right. Like, this is, none of that stuff's true. And people aren't getting behind him because he's using divisive language and all that. That has nothing to do with it. He's standing up against bullies, and the bullies are you people on the left, not the people on the right. The people on the right are just trying to be conservative. That's all. We're not trying to, like, it's just crazy to me. So you're going to hate Trump so much that you're going to then vote for America to turn into socialism. And socialism is Venezuela right now, which is failing as a country. Everywhere socialism has ever been enacted, it has failed. And Bernie's touting it. And Bernie has made millions of dollars doing nothing but being a senator, working for the people as a career politician. He has made millions of dollars. He is just as crooked as all of the other career politicians. and he's touting socialism, which is terrible. And you in the people, and yeah, this is an aggressive video, I get it, but it is so fascinating to me that you can hate someone so much that you would then turn and say anything's better than Trump. Socialism is better than Trump. Because socialism is one step away from communism. It's like, really? You think there's a dictator and a despot? Wait till you go to socialism and then move on to communism. Like read The Future of Freedom by Fareed Zakaria. I think that's how you say his name. I might be mispronouncing it. I think he was on CNN and has been for a long time or was. But he wrote a book in the early 2000s, and I read it a long time ago. And it was just talking about the cycle of politics and how, people are ruled by kings and despots and whatever. And then they break free and they have some sort of democracy. And democracies don't last more than 200 years because people, instead of being diligent and working hard together because they feel like they're in this together, after 200 or so years, everybody forgets why they're a country, and they start taking the country and milking the country for their own personal gain instead of working together, and then the democracy falls apart, and then it goes back into this loop of socialism, communism, and then communism fails, and then you're back to some sort of ruler, dictator, and it's just terrible. And then you have to break free, and it's this whole cycle. And America's already way past 200 years, and so we're out there in uncharted territory. But now you're starting to see we're getting more and more divided, and people saying, well, if you're not with me, you're against me, instead of saying, well, we're Americans and let's figure this out. Maybe we're in it together, and we have to figure out how we work together as non-politicians to put in a government or representatives of us into government. Maybe there's a different approach rather than us fighting, right? So I think it's fascinating that there's all these Trump haters out there that are going to vote for a socialist to be president, which is like, socialism isn't a democracy. So I don't understand how you can think that that's going to lead to something positive. Anywho, it's the ultimate capitalism versus socialism showdown. And one thing about Trump that I will say is he is crazy when it comes to debates and talking, and he'll talk out of his mind. And I don't think there's actually the Democrats aren't very good at debating right now. And Trump will it'll be like middle school. It's like, it'll be fascinating to watch them debate because he's just going to be blah, blah, blah. And at this point, the whole thing's a joke to me anyway. So it's just kind of fun to watch it. I don't even know if it's implodes the right term. So I wonder what portion of people who dislike Trump or who hate Trump are going to come out and vote for something that they don't like and don't want, but they think anything's better than Trump. And then vice versa. I wonder how many people hate socialism so much and it's so ingrained in them that socialism is not where America needs to go, that they'll come and vote for somebody like Donald Trump who they don't like because of his mouth and his Twitter and all this stuff. And will they come out and vote? So will you have two candidates that are so divisive, that are so far apart in their ideologies, that so many people, that more people than ever will come out to vote? And I don't know if that's true or not. I think a lot of people came out to vote. I think it was for maybe Obama's first win. I think so, over McCain. Was that when done? I don't know. I should have looked that up. But I wonder if more people than ever will come out to vote because they either don't want Bernie and socialism, or they don't want Trump because they're so tired of his tweets and his public persona. And there's just a lot of passion right now And I think it's really interesting of where this leads America in the future. And then the other thing that I thought of, which I think is going to be interesting to watch, is could Bernie pull a Trump and shock the world? Now, if you are more liberal leaning and you're still watching this, which I find it hard to believe, you would be, but if you are, I know you think that, or most of you think that everybody hates Trump, and you can't even believe he got elected and he stole the first election. But let me tell you right now, a lot of people are tired of the left's bullying, and the left's just been doing nothing but bullying for years. And so Trump was a chance for people that were more conservative who would not like to put this kind of stuff out there in public because they just didn't want to deal with all the bullying and crap from the left. Trump just says, I'll take it and let's go, and I'll dish it out. And that's what you don't like about Trump, is that he's actually fighting back, whereas most conservatives, George Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney, they're just too nice. They spent too much time in country clubs, and they don't want to get into public fights. And Trump says, let's go. I'll roll up my shirt and I'll fight you all day long, because that's all the left's doing, marching and all this stuff. It's just all constant complaining, and we don't like that. So Trump's actually fighting that, which is nice. Even though I don't like necessarily how it's going, it's actually nice for somebody who is fighting for some conservative values. That's where you're saying we can't even believe that he won. Nobody's talking about it, because people on the right don't want to get in public debates. They don't want to put videos out like this because they know they're going to get so much crap, because that's what the left does. What is it? The rusty hinge gets the grease, or whatever. If you make enough noise, then people will just capitulate to whatever you say, even if it's asinine. And it's just getting tiresome for a lot of Americans, but they're not saying it publicly because they don't want to deal with the crap that comes with it. Well, if you're voting for Bernie, or if you're going to vote Democrat or anti-Trump, regardless, I just wonder. To me, it would be Bernie being president would shock the world, like Trump beating Hillary Clinton. To all the pundits said, Hillary is going to win, she's going to run away with it, and they just couldn't believe. Nobody could believe that Trump had actually won and had rallied enough people to win certain states and all that. Because I know you're going to tell me Hillary won the popular vote, he's never won, whatever. That's the whole thing. That's why we're a democratic republic. We're not an actual democracy, because it's never been one vote, one person casts a vote and it goes public, the popular vote. We've always had these delegates, and it's always been something or other. It's been people, you had to have land to vote. You couldn't be a woman. Like there are all these hurdles that we've overcome over the years to make things more equitable in the United States. And so it will be a shock if Bernie wins. It'll be a complete shock, because he'll be the first socialist we've ever had, democratic socialist, which is just basically him trying to make his socialist views more palatable. That would be a total shock, because it would be the first president ever to be ideologically not American. Period. So not only that, everybody was talking who didn't like Trump, saying he's too old to be president, because he was the oldest, as I mentioned in an earlier video. He was the oldest president ever to start a term at 70. Bernie will be 79 if he wins the Democratic nomination and then beats Trump in 2020 later this year. He would be 79 starting a presidency. I'm telling you, I already did it in the Supreme Court video. That is getting to the age, give or take a few months or a year or two, of, I don't remember exactly offhand, of the World Health Organization's average lifespan for an American male. 79. So, I mean, you're talking, if Bernie's running, if he wins the nomination, it is statistically accurate to say within 4 years of a presidency, he's got a good chance of not making it, because that's the World Health Organization, just statistically speaking. I do not wish that if he wins, I don't wish him, not to make his presidency, whatever. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just talking about statistics. He's going to be 79. Can you imagine? He's already had a heart attack, right? Didn't he have a heart attack when he won? I think Biden had a brain attack. He's saying stuff that's out of his mind. But that would be crazy, right? To start a presidency at 79. Anywho. All right. Last couple things, and I'll wrap it up. And then I feel like I need to say some bad things about Trump for all you left-leaning people that may or may not still be watching this. So what would a presidency of Bernie's look like if he did win? One, I think he would get rocked in all the debates just because Bernie's getting tore up right now from all the other Democrats. But even if Bernie Sanders gets elected, he's got to work with Congress. And I just don't know if these all these career politicians are ready for socialism, and they want to be in power when America flips over to socialism, and then they'll just stay in power and reap all the benefits, and we'll forget about a democracy, and they'll just make a whole bunch of money, and they'll become this elite class, and everybody else will become the poor people, and they'll love it. But I don't know that we're there yet, and I would find it hard to believe just yet that this group of politicians would work with Bernie. I don't like all of these ideas or things that they say that are going to cost $50 trillion. And, everybody just throws numbers out. They don't know. They're not accountants. They're not, business owners. They're just career politicians and yada, yada, yada. But I just can't imagine that whether it's a Democratic or a Republican held Congress, that they would work with Bernie Sanders on socialist policies. Now, there's some left-leaning stuff that would go on that the conservative right-leaning people maybe wouldn't agree on, and if it was a Democratic-led Congress, that some stuff would get done. But I just can't imagine that it would be to the extent of the ideas that are being brought to the forefront by Bernie Sanders and his campaign. So kind of just to wrap it up, I mean, I think it's fascinating to think about Bernie and Trump being the representatives of America. Has always been about capitalism and freedom, and socialism is the exact opposite of that. It's not free market capitalism, and it's not freedom. It's everything's run by the government and portioned out and handouts, and you only get this much because everybody's equal, while the elite and the political class takes everything. And so it's just it's much worse than what we have right now. And it's definitely not the way we want to go if we want things to get better and more equitable. Unless our definition of equitable is everybody has nothing except for whoever's in power. And that's not where we are today. So it's the ultimate clash of capitalism versus socialism. And I never would have thought America would be here in my lifetime, much less middle age, at 20 in the year 2020. So with all of that being said, 23 and a half minutes into the video, I don't believe Trump is the best option for president. He was just the best option that I had to vote for. And that's where I bring up this whole idea of a third party, a viable third party, and not some ideological third party, is to say, is there an opportunity here to say, like, are there moderate left-leaning people and are there moderate right-leaning people that would say, hey, we can come together on certain common sense issues, and then in the future work towards that common ground, because we need to bring some sort of sanity back to Washington, D.C., to politics? Or is it just too late to have any sanity? I'll leave that for you. Leave me comments. I'm sure you will. And I'll do whatever I can to answer your comments, whether you agree or disagree. Please refrain from just senseless name calling. If you have a point that you want to make, that's fine. Make a point. But don't just say everybody's, a jerk if you disagree with me. But give me some reasons, something tangible that I can respond to, and I'll be happy to respond to it. Thanks so much for watching and listening to this episode of the House Husband Diaries, a Bernie Trump 2020 preview, and can't wait for Super Tuesday coming up tomorrow. Hope you all are having a great day, and I'll talk to you then.